14 साल के बाद फिर एक बार उत्तर प्रदेश की धरती पर विकास का नया अवसर आने का ये नजारा मैं देख रहा हूं। भाइयों बहनों, एक बार अपने पराये से ऊपर उठ करके, जात पात से ऊपर उठ करके सिर्फ और सिर्फ उत्तर प्रदेश के विकास के लिए चुनाव में वोट कीजिए। आप देखिए उत्तर प्रदेश बदलता है कि नहीं बदलता।
Well, development or Vikas, this dominated the Prime Minister's speech in Lucknow this afternoon. The battle for Uttar Pradesh has well and truly begun. The Samajwadi Party is a divided house, but who stands to benefit, the BSP or the BJP? Or can Akhilesh Yadav bring the warring factions together? Good evening. Welcome to this election exchange special. I'm Shireen Bhan. Also on the show today, the Supreme Court, in a landmark verdict, has made it illegal to seek votes in the name of religion, caste or creed. But can this be enforced effectively? Those are some of the questions that we hope to answer over the course of this program. Joining us now to discuss the developments from Uttar Pradesh and the landmark verdict from the Supreme Court are Pankuri Pathak, who's the spokesperson for the Samajwadi Party, Sanjay Jha, spokesperson for the Congress Party, Syed Zafar Islam, the BJP spokesperson, and renowned journalist Shekhar Gupta. Appreciate all of you joining us here on the show. Pankuri, if I could start by asking you, we heard the Prime Minister speak in Lucknow today, and the agenda seems to be very, very clear. 14 साल के विकास के वनवास के बाद बीजेपी को वोट दीजिए. So this is the quintessential Narendra Modi 2014 election campaign being repeated in Uttar Pradesh, and development seems to be the dominant theme. Your first reaction?
I feel that the people of this country, and especially of the state, which gave the maximum number of member of parliaments to the BJP, are totally bored and fed up of the empty rhetoric of the BJP, because they have been only talking of development, but we have not seen anything on the ground in the past 2.5 years. In fact, the people of this country, and especially the rural people who comprise a very large section in the state of Uttar Pradesh, had to face extreme hardship, and they still don't know the reason why this happened. There is no clarity on the outcomes of this decision and if the country has really benefited or not. And so many people lost their lives, and those were poor people who are never mentioned by the PM in any of his speeches. He should have asked for forgiveness, but leave that. He does not even, he does not feel sorry for what has happened. And he just keeps on talking about development, but he never states what his party plans to do and what all the MPs that Uttar Pradesh has given BJP, what they have done in the past 2.5 years. Most of them, they never even come back to their constituencies. The people don't even remember their faces, and we have not seen anything that the center has specifically or specially given to Uttar Pradesh, and all they have is this empty rhetoric of development, and the people are totally fed up now.
You believe the people are fed up, but I guess we'll only find out when the polls do happen in the state of Uttar Pradesh. At this point in time, the government going in feeling extremely confident of being able to replicate the kind of victory they saw in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. But let's just get some facts straight, since this is, at least at this point in time, an election about development, or as the Prime Minister continued to say during the course of his speech, about Vikas. Now, here's the Akhilesh Yadav report card from fiscal year 2013 to fiscal year 2016. Uttar Pradesh has grown at a rate of 4.5%. If you were to compare this with previous regimes, then Mayawati of the BSP had a better growth rate of 5.4%, and even his own father, Mulayam Singh Yadav, had a slightly superior growth rate. But things are looking up. Let's look at the picture in FY16, because this is when Akhilesh Yadav seems to have sort of gone into overdrive. Uttar Pradesh has grown at a much higher 7%, a clear indication that at least the attempt now seems to be for this government ahead of the elections to try and prop up the development agenda. But the lack of industrialization is a big problem for the state. Industrial growth under Akhilesh Yadav, a mere 1.3%. Under Mayawati, it was about 3%. In fact, industries grew at a staggering 9.7% under Mulayam Singh Yadav. But we should factor in the low base that Mulayam Singh Yadav inherited. Agricultural growth has been struggling under Akhilesh Yadav, but to be fair, there have been 2 drought years as well. The sector grew at just about 1.8%. And as I pointed out, 2014 and 2015 were drought years, and agri-growth has been hit across the country. So let me bring in our other guests now as we take stock of the development agenda under Akhilesh Yadav. And Sanjay Jha, what should we make of this business of whether Akhilesh Yadav and the Congress party are going to get into some sort of alliance or not? There is now a clear split between father and son. Both seem to be wanting to go their own ways. Is the Congress Akhilesh Yadav combine likely to be a reality?
Sharon, I'm not going to make any observation on matters which are actually in a very speculative domain. Let me just say this, that politically situations are fluid, and at this point to comment on whether one party goes alone or in an alliance will be rather premature. But the truth of the matter is that it was extraordinary that the Prime Minister today in his hour-long speech did not even once mention demonetization. I mean, end of day, that is a public admission.
Well, he did.
Of what a monumental disaster
he did. He spoke about demonetization or Notbandi, as he called it, Sanjay Jha, in the context of the fact that this is a government that is fighting corruption. This is a government that has a war against black money. In fact, quipped that this is in fact brought together the BSP and the Samajwadi Party, which have never seen eye to eye on any other issue, but this fight against black money has actually united the opposition.
Well, Shirin, you have to ignore the standard political speak that happens in election platforms. But the truth of the matter is that, end of day, Mr. Modi, in fact, I thought in the speech that he gave on New Year's Eve was, if you looked at his body language and the fact that he had no figures to share, he had no real anti-black money or corruption steps to talk about, he essentially has confessed to the people of India that this was nothing but a political gambit by him to try and appropriate this corruption space that he's a big crusader against, which has turned out to be totally fictitious. The bottom line is, and since you're in a business channel, I'm sure you'll agree with me, that the country is under severe economic despondency. I mean, it's not just foreign investors. You're not just seeing a net foreign, investor outflow happening in India. I think you're going to see a prolonged slump, a demand recession, and which could result in a GDP being hit appreciably. Mr. Modi has no story. The truth is, I think people have seen through his hollow and hyper, exaggerated rhetoric, as somebody said earlier. And I think the people
I
of
don't know
India
on what basis you can say that people have seen through it, because
no, they will
just like it's too premature to call demonetization a success, it's also too premature to call it a failure, because I don't know what basis you're saying that people of India have seen through what you call claims and rhetoric on the part of the Prime Minister. But let me bring in Shekhar Gupta, and then I'll get to Mr. Islam for the BJP's point of view. Shekhar, Happy New Year, and thanks very much for joining us. What did you make of course, a lot of focus on the large numbers that showed up for the Prime Minister's rally in Lucknow today. The Prime Minister, in fact, starting his speech saying that he's never seen such a crowd before, and that should give confidence to the cadre that this election is virtually done and dusted. But the confidence aside, what did you make of the substance?
Well, I think it was almost like a victory rally before the campaign has begun. He is the main campaigner for the BJP. He is also the face for which they seek votes, because obviously they are not going to, it looks like they are not going to put up a chief ministerial candidate there. So they will go on the basis of what they've done in Bihar and Haryana and Jharkhand in the past. If Mr. Modi is holding a rally anywhere in the country, particularly in the Hindi heartland, I'll be surprised if he doesn't get a large crowd, and particularly if it's his first election rally in a way in the capital of UP. So large crowds in a rally, there is a certain engineering and technology to build up crowds for a rally, and really, my own experience tells me that the faithful come to the rally, whatever party it is. So very few borderline people or people who may be the other party's voters come to your rallies. But the important thing is that that his attack has been equally divided, equally directed at both SP and BSP. Congress is sort of dealt with en passant. And I think BJP has got some kind of a wind in its sails quite fairly. because of what's happening within SP. Because Akhilesh Yadav is a much younger leader. UP is a young state. Young leaders now have an advantage because they feel pressure. They look like they have ideas and energy. And BJP doesn't have a youthful face to rival Akhilesh. So I think the split in the SP, or split so far in the SP, has given their campaign fuel.
Okay, Shekhar, you know, my conversation with Venkaiah Naidu, where he very clearly stated that they will not project a chief ministerial candidate. In fact, he said that wherever we've tried to do that, we've actually fared badly. So we're going to stick with our tried and tested formula of not projecting a chief ministerial candidate. And anyway, people are voting for Narendra Modi. So that seems to be the strategy that that the BJP will adopt even for UP. And you believe that, you know, that's likely to pay dividends for them?
Well, that depends on when Mr. Venkaiah Naidu thinks history begins. If history begins from 2014, then yes, what he's saying is perhaps right. But if history if continues on from 2013, then the states that really matter to the BJP, that is Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh, in all 4 BJP projected chief ministers, starting with Mr. Modi in Gujarat, and swept all those 4 states, and these are large states. So, so I don't think you can conveniently say, all right, you can go without a chief ministerial face because you don't have one.
Yeah.
And also because you are afraid that if you put a face forward, it will cause dissensions elsewhere. And UP is very divided on the basis of caste, etc., etc. So if you put a Brahmin up, someone else gets upset. Put a Dalit up, someone else gets upset. So I think that's a tactical move. But to but to draw some kind of a trend there, that when we put our face, we don't win, is not right. In that case, is he then conceding that the party is going to lose, or the party's coalition is going to lose Punjab because they have a chief ministerial face there? So it doesn't work like that.
Okay, Zafar Islam, you want to respond to what Shekhar Gupta has just said, and also, you know, if this were to become a 4-cornered race, which is what it seems at this point in time, because Sanjay Jha not willing to give us a clear answer on whether there is the possibility of an alliance between Akhilesh Yadav and the Congress party, what will the strategy be for the BJP as you now go into attacking UP?
Shireen, first of all, I would like to bring everyone's attention on today's rally. Large audience attended this rally, suggest and is a testimony of the popularity of the Honorable Prime Minister in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Secondly, which is very important for all of us to note, that the Samajwadi Party, which is the ruling party last 4.5 years and 5 years, they haven't done anything. The report card, you have just shown that both in GDP growth, both on all the parameters, if you see that they have failed miserably. In fact, even their predecessor, the last government of BSP, and what has been delivered by his father, that also has not been able. He's been able to achieve that. So that report card is he has not done anything which he can show to the people of Uttar Pradesh. Secondly, which is very, very important, that last few months we have witnessed that they are fighting. The Samajwadi Party family is fighting for their supremacy. They have their own aspiration to make each other powerful, or each of them powerful, has actually left or ignored completely the aspiration of people of Uttar Pradesh. They have ignored the welfare of the people of Uttar Pradesh, and they are just fighting for their own supremacy, their own power, and I don't know, they want to become malamal. That's why they are fighting with each other. And the BSP and Congress, I think Congress is completely spent force in Uttar Pradesh for last 27. People have forgotten. They have absolutely no leg to stand. They may be looking piggyback on to have some alliance with Samajwadi parties to at least for their fair saving, but otherwise there is point force, and we are not even taking into account in terms of the competition. The only two parties which actually will be the fray. Yes.
if I may interrupt you, and if I could ask you some specific questions, because we still don't have clarity from the government on several issues. We still don't have data from the government on what is the deposit number. We still don't have clarity from the government on some of the measures that were announced by the Prime Minister, giving out SOPs to on housing loans and so on and so forth. There are no notifications that have been issued so far, so we don't have the fine print just yet. Some of the announcements that he made, for instance, with the 6,000 rupees for pregnant women and so on and so forth, is part of the National Food Security Act. So my point is that, is it not time now for the government to start giving out data, to start giving us evidence to say that yes, this scheme is a success and why we should believe that it is a success? If I were to look at the PMI data today, or if I were to look at the auto sales data today, the picture looks very different. At least in, auto sales are showing you a very mixed picture, but the PMI data is showing you contraction.
Shireen, see, as far as data is concerned, the statistics is concerned, I'm sure that it will come in due course, because the tabulation process, the reconciliation process does take time, and it is not the Prime Minister who had to give this data, it is the RBI which will come out with the data, and it's not that they have not shared at all since the time the demonetization scheme has been announced. On the 8th of December, they did come out with one set of data, and then I'm sure that due course they will come out with a final set of data, how much money has come back to the system, and all the other numbers which is being expected by the market participants and the people of India. So that I'm not overly worried, because it's a matter of time which all the numbers will be in place for everyone to see. But let me tell you that the large audience, all the rhetoric, all the allegation, all the criticism coming from the Congress party, and Samajwadi Party. I mean, Congress leader Mr. Rahul Gandhi is on vacation. See how insensitive he is. If at all he was all along he was talking about. No, he is on vacation. He is not worried about what is happening in India. Secondly,
I'll get Sanjay Jha to react.
No, but let me just respond.
Very quickly make your point. Very quickly make your point. I need to get others into this conversation as well.
See, the demonetization program is a complete success. Mr. Modi, even today, made it very clear that the initiative and the drive against black money and the corruption is going to be permanent.
Sir, that is where I'm arguing with you, and as I said, it is too premature to call this scheme a failure or to call it a success, because if you're talking about black money, sir, we don't have a number beyond 4,000 crores rupees, which is what the tax department's last number is as far as what has been detected in terms of raids and seizures for black money. So, which is why I'm saying I don't understand the basis on which you keep saying that this has been a big success.
Shireen, this Financial Intelligence Unit of Ministry of Finance has data of all the money which has been deposited and who has deposited, and where we see that there is the possibility of the black money which has been deposited in the system. They will come out. They are doing their work. They are doing the investigation, and I am sure that in due course.
Let's wait till that data is out. But
we are confident that
let me bring in a quick comment.
We are confident that the government finance will improve as a result of demonetization.
From the Samajwadi Party spokesperson, as Zafar Islam is saying, in a sense, you're making it easier for the BJP to walk away with this game, aren't you? The Prime Minister today, in his rally speech, also alluding to the fact that if you can't get your own house in order, if you can't get your own act together, how are you going to be able to provide a responsible government?
The BJP is definitely very happy with the recent events that have happened in our party, because to a large extent they had a hand in it, and I think in the coming few days it would become even more clear. But everyone is claiming that today's rally was a success, but let me remind them that initially BJP leaders were claiming that they would have a crowd of 15 lakh people, which I am sure did not happen. And when you have a pre-planned program of this magnitude, and let us not forget that in spite of this demonetization that has happened, the BJP is spending large amount of money in their UP campaign, which we don't know where it's coming from, and they have got all these vehicles and
I was asking you to explain to us the state of affairs in your own party, Pankaja. I was asking you to give us a sense of what we can expect about your own party. The BJP has its own issues. I don't want to get into that, but I wanted to get a sense of what we can expect from the Samajwadi Party.
Is very clear. the people of Uttar Pradesh and specifically the people, the workers of the Samajwadi Party, they have chosen their leader. We had a very democratic meeting yesterday.
Except we don't know who that leader
is
at this point in time. Is it the father or is it the son?
It is Mr. Akhilesh Yadav. He has been chosen by the highest decision-making body, which is the National Council, and all the delegates, they have signed in his favor. And now he has been elected as the national president, and we have seen the sort of reaction that came when he was removed from the party, when he was expelled, and there was so much anger in the citizens of Uttar Pradesh, and people came out on the streets to protest against the decision. So it is very clear that people have chosen their leader. He is today the most popular and most liked leader in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and people want him to be the CM again.
Okay. All right, we'll see what the election result tells us. But Shekhar, before I take a break, very quickly, a comment from you on how you see this internal fight, this split in the Samajwadi Party playing out. I mean, there's a conspiracy theory a minute on what this will actually mean for both father and son. But to your mind, as you look at the situation today, do you believe that this has weakened substantially the case of the Samajwadi Party, and is it advantage BJP?
Well, I don't think the parties matter so much right now. Individual leaders matter. To that extent, I think Akhilesh Yadav's opportunity is very similar to what Indira Gandhi had in 1969, when she dumped all the old guard of her own party and struck out on her own. She was about the same age then, in fact, a bit younger than Akhilesh is right now. And we know what happened as a result of that. I think youth is a very there is a lot of premium on youth in our politics today. And Akhilesh has a double advantage. He has youth and he has 5 years of experience as Chief Minister. Now, what this split would do, provided it persists with this split and we don't see one more Bharat Milap kind of scene in a couple of days, father and the son hugging together and forgetting everything and the uncles all coming back. If that doesn't happen, then this will help him get rid of anti-incumbency. Because that the poison of anti-incumbency then will be taken by the father and the uncles, because he would have left that past behind. So I think also as a political journalist, I'd like to see a new party emerge out of an old party with a new style, with a new philosophy, with new methods, and with new leaders. So to that extent, I think while at this moment it looks very bad for Samajwadi Party, I think in a week from now, if the split persists, it's a great opportunity for Akhilesh Yadav to strike out on his own and to go as a fresh face, not as an incumbent accountable for what happened, only accountable for what happened during the past 5 years.
Okay. Gentlemen, let me move away from UP and talk about the other big development of the day. And Sanjay, let me start by asking you what you made of the Supreme Court landmark verdict today, which is declared seeking votes in the name of religion is illegal. It's a 7-judge bench of the Supreme Court that's held that political parties cannot seek votes citing religion, caste or language. Your first reaction?
Yeah, you know, Shireen, frankly, as a secular, progressive, liberal citizen of a great democracy, I believed it was about time. You know, I remember during the 2014 elections, a very prominent BJP leader in the city of Mumbai, where I live, put out a massive hoarding at Chowpatty, which is right, I think you live here as well, right in the middle of, you know, the famous Marine Drive. And it had Narendra Modi's photograph, a huge photograph, and it says, "Vote for me, I'm a proud Hindu nationalist." Now that was, frankly speaking, brazen, you know, what I call as a marketing of Mr. Narendra Modi as the big, you know, the Hindu samrat that the people were at that point of time looking upon as the real communal swing in the 2014 elections. We all know that development finally was nothing but a political spin. So the truth is that today, when the Supreme Court makes a very strong statement that no political party should indulge in caste, creed or religion as a tool or as a political strategy, it's a message particularly to those parties which are very bigoted or very fundamentalist in nature and have traditionally played that kind of vote bank politics. And this could affect a few regional parties.
Well, everyone is guilty of playing the vote bank politics.
On the Bharatiya Janata Party,
Sanjay Jha,
because the RSS,
everyone has played vote bank politics.
The RSS campaigns for them.
Okay, let me get in a quick word from Zafar Islam, and then I'll end with Shekhar Gupta. Zafar, a quick word on the Supreme Court order today.
So, Shireen, Mr. Sanjay Jha is preaching us, criticizing us. I think he should see the history of Congress party, how they have played a divisive policy and always one based on the policy they had adopted to divide the society in the name of religion, in the name of caste, and as a result they have been able to win.
Your comment on the order, sir.
But we welcome this order because we, in all our speeches, in all our manifesto, if you see that we have always spoken about the people of India, 125 crore people of India, no other leaders of any other political party has ever mentioned about the nation as a whole. It is only BJP, it is only Prime Minister Modi, it is only the senior leadership of BJP and a Karyakarta of BJP who speaks about the nation as a whole and not a particular religion, not a particular community. And that is something which has been propagated and populated by Congress party in the last 50-70 years.
Shekhar Gupta, I'll give you the final word. I know your view on the BCCI order that the Supreme Court has passed today. The court has had a busy day, but what do you make of this one?
Well, it's very difficult not to welcome this because that will look like you are a communal idiot. But one, this judgment is unimplementable. Second, as far as the logic of the judgment is concerned, there is already a law in place under People's Representation Act, where somebody who uses religion, etc., can be penalized. Now, to say that religion, caste, creed, language, identity can't be used in an election means, are you going to have partyless elections like Zia-ul Haq had in Pakistan or Musharraf tried in Pakistan? Politics is divisive. Politics must divide. Politics must polarize. People cannot. An election is an organic, touchy-feely thing. An election is not a numbers, empirical thing. So I think first of all, it is wrong to do this, and I know that nobody would take any wisdom from Mulayam Singh Yadav. Even less likely today than maybe 10 years back when he said this to me. But he once said this to me. He said this to me on camera that if you take out religion and caste from politics, politics will become very cut and dried and very cruel because why did we divide states in India on the basis of language if language is not going to be part of politics? And frankly, this means entire parties have to shut down. Akali Dal has to shut down. All India Muslim League has to shut down. Shiv Sena has to shut down. Kerala Congress has to shut down. Forget the major national parties. So many of these parties would simply have to wind up and go home. It's not going to happen. So I, with respect to the 4 judges who gave this, who concurred on this, I'd rather go with the 3 who did not. I would say that both 3 were wiser on this than the other 4. And I do wish that there was a mechanism to have this tested in front of a larger constitution bench, maybe a full bench, because this is, I think, unimplementable. This is prone to misuse, and this will, I'd like to see Election Commission disqualify a party for using religion.
Well, that is the big question, and thanks very much for raising that on the program, Shekhar Gupta, Pankuri and Sanjay Jha, as well as Zafar Islam. Thanks very much for joining us here on the CNBC TV 18 special to take stock of the big political developments of the day. With that, it is time for us to wrap up the show. We'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.